Alright. Let's get this started, shall we?
A storm is coming. Mankind faces ruin and despair. The world is...
Do, 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 do. You a nice little spin to win here.
Monsters up here.
Thank you everybody for the follows. Hopefully I'll be able to show you a pretty reasonable run here. But again, this game is quite difficult to run, even among 3D action games. This was confirmed when basically a really well-known glitch hunter and speedrunner for 3D games, Akion, basically, when I started learning this game, he was like, this is a really rough game to learn the genre. Just because there's a lot of kind of intricacies and difficulties involved with the skips. So here we're going to go ahead and fail these QTs on purpose, because it's a little bit faster.
Lot of monsters up here.
All the followers tonight. So we use Ultimate Light here because even though it does less damage per hit than Ultimate Shadow, it's just faster because Ultimate Shadow ends up doing this slowdown thing.
Alone again with only his thoughts.
And the slowdown thing costs you quite a few seconds. It's much better to go for Ultimate Light if you have the opportunity. Problem with Ultimate Light is you really need to drag them to the corner in order for Ultimate Light to hit well, basically. Okay. There we go. That's bypassing an arena trigger. And here we're trying to bypass having to step on the swamp, because you move very, very slow in the swamp. Also, because of the way we skipped that arena, there was an invisible wall leading into the swamp that we were trying to bypass that way. For almost any skip inside of this game, there's like 2 or 3 ways you can do it. It's just a matter of what resources do you have, what do you feel comfortable doing. Gotta go beat up on some goblins here. Ah, that sucks. So the grenade fell, like, kind of out of bounds, so I couldn't use it. Wow, these grenades are falling out of bounds all over the place. That's actually really terrible. Okay. Okay. Any minute here. I would... Okay, so this is a fucking really, really bad time loss. But there's not really a lot I can do about it because the grenades keep falling out of focus, and unfortunately the same button to pick up grenades is the same button to grab enemies, and the game tends to focus on grabbing enemies instead. So that was a sweet 30-second time loss. That was basically completely out of my control. But let's go ahead and make up for it, shall we? So there is a way that you can skip this section. However, I find it's pretty inconsistent at times. And because of that, and because of how my time is right now, I feel like I don't need to gain that time if I'm going to constantly lose runs this early. So once again, just trying to get out of this arena. And by doing that, we've basically completely negated that enemy presence. And we can just continue on with the stage. And again, using or having access to double jump at this point in the game, you're not supposed to have it at all, and because of that, you can completely butcher some of these sections, just because they never intended you to be able to jump twice your height, 3 times your height. And that's a big thing inside of any type of 3D game like this, is once people find like an infinite jump, or not even an infinite jump, but once they can gain about 2 to 3 times the height that the developers intended you to get, the game starts to fall apart more often than not. So if I didn't have access to these running boots, then I'd be rolling everywhere. Rolling is fairly significantly faster. This puzzle will always be the same every time, so I don't need to collect the solution. I just put it in. There's going to be another puzzle coming up here, and pretty simple. Just basically put in the inputs you need to do. And all we're trying to do here is basically orient these rings so that we can build a bridge to Marie. I've seen a lot of people like struggle with that, and all it is you basically, every ring connected to the ring you're manipulating will move in the opposite direction. It's a fairly easy puzzle if you've done anything with like survival horror games.
The test has shaken him.
But it gives people a lot of trouble sometimes. And here's your infamous Shadow of the Colossus ripoff fights. Definitely not my cup of tea in this game, but I think people totally overblow them. They're not nearly as terrible as you would think. It's just, I would say the worst part about these boss fights is it has really bad conveyance about what you're supposed to do. I would argue that's the same thing in the Shadow of the Colossus boss fights as well, though. Just like with Shadow of the Colossus, it's very punishing to fall off as well. However, I would say it's less punishing in this game, because the cycles in order to get back on the boss are a lot easier to manipulate, and they're a lot faster. There's oftentimes in Shadow of the Colossus where if you fall off, you could be taking so much time just to get another opportunity to get back on the Colossi. So by using the Dark Crystal, I make it so that each time I hit these glyphs once, I break them. Otherwise, I would need to basically like go forward and backward, dodging attacks from the Titan as I was attacking their glyph. Wow. Okay, so that's the first time that's happened. Normally I have to guard against him shaking once there. So that was actually really good. Nice. One.
We part ways, he and I. My instinct...
And I mean, that's the thing, is like, if you don't enjoy God of War style of games, then you're probably not going to like the Lords of Shadow take on the series. But, I don't know. I'd say that there's a fair amount of people that do enjoy them. And I think it does a fairly good job of being a God of War game. With a couple of exceptions. But I'd rather not go into those too deeply while I'm trying to actually do skips and stuff. Well, the time limit is a trial, and the trial is something that you get after you've defeated the boss. Like, it's kind of like after you've completed a chapter, you can do special challenge things. So the timer has nothing to do with it, and you can actually go past the time. Oh, well, that's not good. So I went a little too far out of bounds there, and this is the unfortunate thing about this skip, is I've had trouble with this skip a fair amount, and missing it once even is a pretty significant loss of time, let alone if you miss it multiple times. And as you could see, I couldn't even see my character once I went over the top of the wall, so I just had to kind of guess and try to move in a way that I thought was safe, but I couldn't tell where exactly I was, so makes it kind of difficult. Please be out of bounds. Okay, I'm out of bounds. So this is still pretty dangerous, because I still have one more big skip that I have to do here. Okay, good. So I'm going to lose time on this split, but not a ton. Which could have been way, 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 way worse had I missed it again.
He is becoming stronger with every step he takes.
So, this has a... You're going to hear me say it a lot. There's just a lot of skips in this that are very, very difficult to pull off and can be just... You can lose like 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes so easily if things go wrong. But, you know, you learn to manage, and you just kind of put it aside and play the best you can. And hope that the game cooperates. And once again, just having double jump really changes the way that you can approach this level. Okay. Dang. So it doesn't look like it's going to give this to me this time. So you can kind of jump across this web. The problem involves like invisible walls here and there and death collision. So I'm just going to go ahead and walk across this time. Another example of kind of shoddy stuff there as well. It's unfortunate because it's a nice thing to hit if you can get it the first try. So here is a very difficult skip, and because of that I'm going to pick up this runic stone key. That initiates a checkpoint, so if I fail it, I can return to this point and try again. Okay. That's an example of not being able to see yourself. I had to know exactly what was going to happen and how I was going to move based on what actions I took. I'm still not out of the woods yet, especially since I kind of got a bad jump there. So right now I'm out of bounds on top of an invisible wall structure, and I'm trying to get on solid ground or jump in such a way that I can progress further in the background of the level. Okay. Alright, alright. That was too much. There we go. Good enough. There is a certain degree of people that likes, like, challenge. I think that you can inherently put challenge into the gameplay without having to resort to certain tactics. Like, if you ever play this game, I would almost recommend that you play it on the easy difficulty setting. The reason I would say that is I feel like one of the big downcomings of the combat in this game is bosses have too much HP. Like, they're just way too durable. So it's like, even if you understand how the boss fight goes and how to execute it, it still takes quite a bit of time in order to finish bosses. The other thing it changes that's significant is it allows you to get focus easier. Focus, when you gain it and hit enemies, allows you to get those magical orbs right there, and that powers your magic. And I just feel like it's a little too hard to get and maintain focus in the higher difficulty levels of the game. So, like I said, I feel like if you're going to play this game, I would definitely recommend considering at least playing it on easy. I mean, the difficulty of the bosses is still going to be pretty similar, it's just going to take less time to get rid of them. So this used to be a really, really precise jump, but with the advent of the backwards high jump, it became a lot less hard to do. And the way that works is when you use your double jump to move backwards, it was found out that you have kind of infinite momentum going backwards rather than forwards. And so that allows you to make some very, very otherwise tricky jumps much, much more easily. So this is an enormous arena sequence that we basically just jailbroke, avoided the trigger for it, and continued on.
This ancient city
Waterfalls of Hecate has an absolutely absurd skip that's super awesome, but I have been unable to figure out. It involves getting on top of this statue, getting over an invisible wall, and charging into the background of the stage there. You can use that in order to bypass about 2/3 of the stage, but unfortunately I've just never been able to figure out exactly how it works. Dang, that was not good. So unfortunately I held the button just a tiny bit too long. There we go. It's okay though. Not a huge time loss. And we are going to still be trying to do a couple of sequence breaks inside of this. But it's just unfortunate that we can't do the most major one, because that would be extremely powerful. Yet another thing where I could save like 2-3 minutes if I could learn that skip. That would make all the difference in the world, considering kind of how low I'm pushing this game right now. Fiddlestick, Satvara, and Vipezone have actually done some pretty interesting stuff for the new game run as well. Like, kind of theorizing what you could do in a run where you do not have all of the artifacts and all of your power. One of the things they came up with is stomping down that waterfall to bypass death collision. Still don't know exactly how it works. So, still something that's eluded me a little bit, but I have been looking into maybe working out a new game route for this game. It just depends on how quickly I can get New Game Plus kind of taken care of, because I am a lot more passionate about that than New Game. So here's an arena that gets completely broken with double jump. Normally you're supposed to trap this troll and break the boulder in the back, but with double jump, you can actually just completely bypass it. Just continue on. Normally this is where the first skip would dump us off at, so we would have skipped over all of that traversal of terrain and stuff. So this is normally an arena that you have to clear and then do some platforming. However, by doing a high jump, we can activate that grapple point and skip all of that. So this is a skip that used to be extremely hard, but once again, backwards long jump kind of presented us with a new and unique solution for how to do this skip. The intended solution there is you're supposed to tame the spider and then have him spin a web bridge for you. Sorry if I'm kind of breaking down a lot of the game, but I assume that there's quite a few people that haven't really even played this game, so try to give you a little bit of background on why things work the way they do. As a high jump in order to stop this arena. A lot of the times when an arena starts, grapple points and ledges become inactive so that you can't just jump out of them. However, if you understand how the arena works, where the platforms are that you're supposed to climb on afterward, you can skip a lot of things. A lot of it is also just getting out of kind of the range of the arena. In that case, I got in a vertical height that the game thought that I was out of the arena and trying to do the climb itself. This wall is an impossible climb, according to the game. But I did a pretty good job of climbing that impossible climb. At least I think so. It's another stage you just completely destroy.
Strange girl. Surely she could not.
So, interesting level here as well. There's a way you can bypass large segments of this climbing section. However, they're quite hard to do. And the climbing section isn't actually that long if you do that first skip and this skip coming up here. Yeah. Hello, Shy. Thanks. I mean, I try my best because I'm still learning this game. As again, it's very difficult to kind of get past stuff. If this looks at all interesting, I would highly suggest checking out Findlestick on YouTube, Satvara, and Vipazone. All three of them are fantastic people who have done a lot for this game. Akion as well has done a lot for just at least kind of categorizing and doing a lot of archival stuff regarding this game. Archiving of tricks and strategies is something that I'm actually really passionate about in the speedrunning community, because it's so easy to forget where we've been as a group of speedrunners at any given time. I think it's important to categorize strategies, because, like, imagine you're like, oh, well, we don't use this strategy because this is in the route now. Well, what happens if eventually we find that that is slower and we go away from that route? Wouldn't it be a good idea to retest that thing that we removed because of that? Like, maybe it can go back in the route again. This is just a timed arena now, so I'm just kind of waiting it out. And for things like that, I'm really glad that some communities have kind of banded together, made wikis, written glitch facts, things like that. It's very, very important. for kind of training new generations of runners. So here's that level from before that we did. Dang. I thought I got high enough there.
The three companions.
So another Titan coming up here. Once again, we're going to blow our Dark Crystal in order to bypass having to hit the ruins a ton of times. I have no idea how you're supposed to do the time trial for this. I'm always off by like 3 or 4 seconds. It's pretty frustrating. So unfortunately, I got him to throw rocks at me, which is going to lose a little bit of time. But shouldn't be too bad. Gotta jump there or else you get knocked to the ground.
Now is your chance! Climb up!
One. You'll hear me say like 1 or 2 or 3 when I'm climbing the Titan sometimes. That's me counting the number of shakes they've done. For each individual body part that you move around on the Titan, they have a certain amount of times that they will shake you before you're free to move again. And so I'm actually counting how many shakes they've done so that I know when I'm free to move and I won't fall off and lose like a billion seconds. Two. One, two. See, and I'm gonna run out of time when I'm on this, basically. So even though this is a cutscene, there's actually a QT in this cutscene, so I can't just immediately skip it. So we're doing pretty good on this chapter 2, completely honest. Not bad.
A great victory. Gabriel.
Now there's some time to save on this boss because I had forgotten to use the Dark Crystal on him. But right now we're going to abuse him with Ultimate Dark. Since we got him in the corner, we're going to get max damage out of this ultimate light also, because he's constantly getting hit by it. Break this crystal. Really good fight there, I would say. Tiny hiccup in it, but we will definitely take that fight.
Dreams are a gateway to the mind.
All right.
And now Gabriel.
3 towers, so some pretty big skips in here to skip some arenas. We use our dark magic punch there because it pushes the thing faster. We don't need to charge up our punch to knock the pillar further. Also, normally we would need to use a dark magic punch in order to punch it through that wall, but since we have access to it right now, and we didn't have to gain magic at all, we can bypass that. Nice and easy. Yeah, that is kind of a thing that I really wish every game should have, is the opportunity to skip cutscenes if you want to. Like, you don't have to make it just a single button press or something, but even the ones where they have where it's like, hold B to skip. You know, that would be nice. Because then you don't have to worry about accidentally skipping it on a casual playthrough, but you can still skip through it fairly quickly. So Holy Water gives you extra height. It allows you to bypass things, as does the Avalanche Punch that you've been seeing me use here and there. Combining the two together allows you to gain huge amounts of height. So since I have access to fairies already, normally you would need to run around the level getting fairies, but I'm able to bypass that by having them already.
Gabriel has fought long and hard to get to this.
I am Cornell, Lord of the Light. Call yourself
Nice.
a warrior.
So that should be a time gain. As you can see, some of these stages are quite a bit faster than others. Or some of the chapters. Chapter 2 is one of the longer ones in the game. Alright, so I'm going to attempt to bypass a climbing sequence here. Hopefully we can do so pretty quickly. Ah, that's not good. Alright, let's try this again. Okay, we need to fall kind of out of bounds here. Please climb up. Okay, thank you. So we needed to move very specifically there in order to avoid falling out of bounds and getting stuck or dying. Coming up here is another huge skip. This skip will skip a boss. Actually, 2 boss fights and 2 arenas. So really want to hit this skip as quickly as possible. But it is definitely one of the harder ones in the game, mainly because of the start of it. The start of it is pretty brutal. It'll also skip over a Chupacabra scene, which is, I guess I can talk about a little bit later. Okay. Hello, Black Knight. Shoot. Thought I was out of bounds there. So we are taking these deaths somewhat on purpose when we miss it. Because we want to appear on that platform rather than having to climb back up again. There we go. Please hit. Okay. Alright. Right, and we're out of bounds at the right place. Good. So a lot of things can go wrong on that skip, but that went pretty well. If you end up too far inbounds while out of bounds, if that makes sense, like too close to the inbound section, you can still trigger the Chupacabra, which is not great. Okay. Okay. Got it. Very good. So what the Chupacabra is it's basically this, it's almost like a puzzle platforming section. The Chupacabra will take away all of your relics and abilities, and you kind of have to chase them around platforming sections in order to get them back. By going out of bounds at that place, I skipped the trigger where he would have taken my gear as well. So, like, that skip just skipped over 2 boss fights, 2 arenas, and a puzzle platforming section that would have taken a long time. So very, very powerful. Doing okay, Nero. Just going through a quick run-through, keeping myself fresh on this game. I've been learning it over the past few weeks here. Yeah, hopefully you guys have been enjoying it, though. A little different than ROM's usable fare, but, you know, variety is the spice of life and such. So, that was an arena skip. Thank you for the follows as well, by the way, guys. So that was a pretty big arena skip there. Normally, if you were doing New Game Plus even, like without the full power, you wouldn't do that skip because it uses a lot of holy water. But given that we can get our holy water back kind of whenever we want in this category, it's definitely worth it to go for. That is one of the interesting things that I liked about New Game Plus over this category, is while it's not so insane with skips, there's a certain degree of item management in it. You kind of have to make decisions on what strategies you want to use, what skips you can do based on how much holy water you have left, you know, how much other resources you have. So let's see if we can double egg this guy. We didn't double egg him. That's pretty crummy. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to grab 2 eggs. If you can grab 2 eggs, you can skip over this next section here. Hopefully I can do it in the next one, though. Nice. Double egged him. Didn't quite get all of them, but that's good enough. I mean, while this is an interesting game, I don't know if it would necessarily make it to GDQ. It would have to fulfill a similar role to God of War, and I think God of War just tends to have a better presence in the in kind of the gamer mind. Like, everybody thinks Lord of Shadow, oh, it's just the God of War ripoff, right? Well, you know, in that case, why not just run God of War instead? For better or worse, GDQ is, even though it is still a community effort for speedrunning, it is very much in the realm of, you know, charity marathons now. They do need to heavily consider what games are going to pull in money. That being said, I think this is a fantastic speedrun, personally, because I love this type of stuff. Okay. By the way, if you guys have never seen God of War speedruns, he hasn't been doing it lately, but there's a guy named EXE_DE. He's EXE from Denmark. He is a fantastic God of War speedrunner. If you ever get the opportunity to check out some of his runs. Sometimes he even does God of War trilogy speedruns, which is pretty cool as well.
So it seems Pan has saved Gabriel once more.
God of War has an insane amount of skips. Very similar to this game, in fact, if you're doing a New Game Plus run. A lot of infinite jump and infinite height tech. A lot of kind of combat abuse. So this Chupacabra you can't skip, at least at this point. So we do have to kind of suffer through his bullshit. So that's why we're rolling all over the place here. As I mentioned, rolling is... it's faster, let's just put it that way. It's faster, not by a ton, but enough that you want to keep doing it. Nice little casual tip for those people that maybe haven't gotten into this game or were thinking about it. Fairies are very, very good. Fairies will distract tons of enemies that you would think they have no business distracting, like this boar. And they are very, very powerful for that reason. Dang. You can actually get a double rush there. It's kind of a glitch where the game thinks that the boar got a running start at the door, and because of that, it just instantly headbutts it again. It's all good. Welcome everybody to the stream, as long as they have the love of games in their heart and are decent. Please be a decent human being. That's one of the prerequisites to watching my stream. Interesting fact about the Chupacabra's voice is actually just a warping of Hideo Kojima's voice. It's kind of funny.
This village is one of the last vestiges of human...
Nice little Weigall village skip here. This skips an enormous arena section that's extremely frustrating to deal with. Right? There we go.
We delve deep.
Let's get in the Abbey Catacombs now. I mean, you're going to start seeing some, like, crazy skips and levels kind of flying by if things go by well. It's just a lot of these sections are really predicated on, like, hey, let's put some doors in front of the player. And then they'll be unable to do anything. Oh, crud. That's terrible. So, I guess normally the vampires don't as aggressively follow me. And so I can get out of here a lot easier. But because those vampires followed me a lot more aggressively than normal, they all got hit by the holy water and the avalanche punch combo that I was doing. So because of that, I had to sit through that little lever cutscene. It's okay. Doesn't really eat that much time. We just leave good old Patrick Stewart behind to fend for himself.
There's a strange device here.
There must be some way of knocking the grill down.
The traps laid by the abbot have proved tricky, and yet we...
Back to the sweet library here that I showed up before this run. So let's hope it goes as well as it did there, because it's actually a really... yeah, this is not going to go well. Okay. Whew! Got lucky. If you land on the roof there, 9 times out of 10, you'll just fall out of bounds once you try to get off of it to initiate the skip. So I got pretty fortunate there. Funny part here is the game still thinks that the light is being shined on that mirror and being sent from it, even though I haven't activated that part of the puzzle yet. So that allows me to do this section. Ooh, wrong way. You actually can't go around that way. There's like a huge invisible wall that way. Alright. So let's do this skip now. Ooh, or maybe he'll knock me out of the air. Uh-huh. I would really appreciate if these guys would apparently stop blocking me. Wow, okay. So, apparently those guys moved in such a way that they were blocking my jumping trajectory. Yeah, there we go. So that just cost me a sweet 30 seconds there. I hadn't seen that before, though, so I'm glad that I know that that's a possibility now. I charged there, trying to bypass that cutscene, but I guess I caught the very tail end of it. Okay. So there's a more efficient way of doing this skip, but I don't know how it works exactly. So because of it, I have to kind of do a weird skip here. Or a weird version of this skip, I should say. Another example of these imps being jerks. So I'm just clearing them with my holy water. I'm tired of dealing with them. Okay. I mean, eventually we would have to clear them anyway because we need to stop them from knocking us down off of this climbing section. So just trading time in one place for another, really. Most of the sequence breaks you can do here require a lot of holy water, and they don't save too much time. I do hope to train a couple of them a little later on, but right now, just trying to do safe things. The run isn't nearly perfect enough for me to worry about small time saves, as I'm sure you've seen during this demo of it. Like here, I could fall off of this and do a couple holy waters and catch the hook above me. That saves me from coming around this corner, grabbing this, and coming around this way. So, like, yeah, it'll save a little bit of time, but not really that much, especially since you need to blow a lot of holy water. So, a lot of cycles of holy water. Throwing holy water takes time.
The power to
All right,
defeat
good
the
old Bronner.
vampires is now in our hands.
Bronner gets a distinct demotion from his appearance in Portrait of Ruin here. He gets to be a vampire lackey. We're using holy water here since vampires are hugely weak to it. They die to 2 attacks of it. They get stunned from the first one, which you can do finishing moves to them at that point. However, it's much, much better to just throw the second holy water and kill them if you have extra. Oh, there's going to be some blood art technique right about now. Wow, he just started backing up. He didn't want none of it.
Wygol village is safe for now.
You know, all the POR fans showing up in mass.
Lot of monsters up here.
Actually, 6 is correct.
Despite his best efforts to try entering the castle.
So we're actually doing pretty good on this run. We've had some hiccups in the early game, but so far this has been going very well. So this section, you're supposed to fight 2 enormous kind of like armor golems. They're very long to fight before you can progress to the next part of the game. We're going to bypass them by jumping over this gate and doing a manipulation here. We jump over the gate to once again create that checkpoint like we did earlier in the game. That way if we make a mistake, we can return to a place that won't punish us nearly as much. Okay. So we got into the place that we would have opened by fighting the golems, and we do a restart. By restarting, we reset our double jump, and we can progress normally through the stage. So here's another really good use of fairies. Normally these bones turn into skeletons, which then attack you. They're supposed to stop you from opening this grate. But with some clever fairy usage, you can stop them from ever engaging you and just open up the gate. So we're going to have the Maze Gardens next. Maze Gardens has a pretty huge time save that you can do inside of it. I only just barely started to learn it, but it seems pretty consistent. Just had to know what to do, kind of. And once I figured that out, it became very possible. You know, with a little know-how, the impossible becomes possible, right? Dang. So I kind of got a bad launch off of that statue. So we're going to have to try this again. Shoot, okay. I got to get off of there or else I'll crack the statue. Excuse me? But this is kind of weird. I've never had this much trouble getting on top of the statue. I don't think this is gonna make it. Yeah. Alright, so restart again. Okay. This looks much better. There we go. Much, much better. So we probably didn't save any time, really, from the intended path by doing this, since it took so long, but we had to go for it at that point. We had already devoted so much time into it. What do I think of the puzzle box? Puzzle box is... it's okay. It's a little frustrating at times, but very doable. We need to restart here, because if we don't restart, this web doesn't spawn, and there's actually an invisible wall at the end of here, and that was the invisible wall we jumped over. I assume by saying the puzzle box you mean the music box, and we are going to be doing the music box later on in the run. Yeah, the 3D speedruns are always kind of weird because you're like, why doesn't he just double jump over this, or why doesn't he just bypass this? And just a lot of the times it really is just there's a huge invisible wall in the way of anything. And it's all about circumventing those walls, or bypassing them, or using them to your advantage sometimes even.
Time is running
Alright,
out.
Castle Hall.
Night is almost upon us.
So if you play this game casually, you know that as part of Castle Hall, you're supposed to do kind of like a strategy chess type minigame. However, if everything goes well, we are going to entirely bypass said minigame. So here's hoping for the best. Oh! Ugh, yeah, okay, so that sucked. That's going to be a huge time loss, because unfortunately we end up on the other side of this again. So yeah, not good. That's easily like a 1 minute time loss. Unfortunate. It's really kind of crummy too, because I was pretty sure that we had gotten enough height. There we go. So by jumping over that instead of opening it, we bypass the vampire chess minigame.
She has
Kind
the
of
body
move
of
on.
an innocent child, yet the wit.
Listen, Gabriel Belmont is very officious. He likes to open up gates entirely. It's very important to him. So this is an example of using an invisible wall or geometry to your advantage. And that's so that I can get extra height and get over that wall. So we need to restart again because right now we're out of bounds. But we have hit the checkpoint on the other side of this wall. You can technically skip this puzzle door. However, it does take quite a bit of time and resources, and on a failure, it definitely doesn't save time. So, you know, sometimes you just want to take the time loss if it means that you very consistently can do the obstacle.
The butcher who commanded the
Yeah, so
castle
big time loss there, but it's okay. Like I said, we got a lot to learn about this game. Super important to understand that the puzzle is solved, Dev. If the game didn't tell you that the puzzle was solved, how would you ever know? Alright, we're gonna go ahead and do this instead, I guess. There we go.
This part of the castle.
Alright,
was
Electric
once
Laboratory.
like
This has a really, really big skip inside of it. I've only just barely kind of learned it, so hopefully we can do it again. My PB has it, but it is kind of difficult to do, so just hope for the best. Nice. Got the cutscene skip. This is a kind of a clever solution to this puzzle. Nice. Got it. All right. Okay. All right, good. We got out of bounds. That's the first step. But not the last step. Okay. So let's move correctly here, please. Good. Got it. So if you take too long there, you can actually trigger the boss that normally triggers when you pick up that red lens. But luckily we moved quickly enough that we were able to bypass that and immediately hit the end of level trigger. Dang. So that's the other bad thing that can happen there when you're trying to do the guillotine skip. Unfortunately, it zoomed me down way too quickly for it to finish the guillotine, and as a result, it never read me as being on the ground for another guillotine.
A lot of monsters up here.
So many people just hanging out for the Castlevania. Glad that it seems like you guys are at least mildly enjoying this. Or maybe you've just all fallen asleep. Either way. That should get it. Oh, come on. That's unfortunate. That looked good, but I guess the game disagreed. Even with this many failures on this skip, by the way, this is still, like, enormously faster than actually doing this level legit.
Lot of monsters up here.
Oh man, come on. So, I've often thought that there's got to be some way to be able to do this skip using backwards long jumping, but I think because of the method we use with the guillotine and double jumping out of the guillotine, I don't know if that's actually possible, which is kind of frustrating. Yeah, this is pretty dead now. There's not really too much I can do at this point. But we'll try and finish up a run here. Man, oh man. Just does not want to trigger that end of level. It's actually not an end of level trigger, it's the boss trigger that I'm trying to hit here. Oh, come on. Oh, this is brutal. The terrible part is this isn't even one of the harder skips. It's just inconsistent is the problem. Yeah. It just does not want to do it right now. Unfortunate. Oh, come on. I really should be triggering it here. I'm actually out of bounds on top of the tunnel. That's the trigger. There we go. Yeah, so this run's super dead now, but we'll keep it going.
Now, play with my
There's just no
toys.
way I can make up that much time without some pretty big shenanigans. That's the type of shenanigans I haven't really learned, so... It's gonna be a nice, like, 3-minute time loss.
How dare you break my toys!
Hello, Rio. What's up, Akion? Akion in the flesh, folks. Follow this man on Twitch and YouTube for all of your 3D action game needs.
Curious, isn't it?
Yeah, 3
Love
minutes.
can be a powerful...
Brutal. Alright, outer wall. So there's kind of an interesting way to skip a part of this climbing section that I found out, and that's that you can actually climb here. Which you should not be able to do, to put it lightly. But that allows us to kind of hit there without having to do a little bit of climbing. Saves a few seconds. That's going okay. Like, I'll be honest, I get really, really angry at this game sometimes. But then there's other times like now where I'm just like, yeah, you know, I don't understand the trick well enough. It's gonna give me trouble every once in a while. You know, sometimes you just gotta concede things are gonna go wrong sometimes and try and learn from your mistake. Understand where you need more practice. And it just so happens that I do need more practice on that section. That was pretty bad. Alright, there we go. There's another nice inventive use of the fairies. That wasn't part of the fairy use. To kind of mess with them so that you can get down here instead. Very important to get out of that room as soon as possible, because once this gate closes, you can get smashed in between the gate and the wall. And if you have to restart from checkpoint, you end up in that room again. That's the Holy Cross breakout. Normally you're supposed to have an animation where you bend down and pick up the key from the knight down there. However, if you use the Holy Cross move, it cancels the animation of you picking it up and allows you to move way earlier than intended. Nice little ice skating there uphill.
The vampire's mercy is playing on his thoughts.
Should you platinum this game? I don't know. Depends how much you enjoy it. I did not personally platinum it because, like, while I enjoy the game, there's a lot of trophies in there that I just don't care about. And actually, I take that back. I don't care about trophies. That's kind of the reason I didn't platinum it. But, you know, if that's your thing, if you enjoy that style of gameplay, you know, good old Chivo hunting, and maybe it'd be interesting to you. I can say that the skips that you use in the speedrun make beating some of the stages on the highest difficulty extremely trivial. So there is a skip from that section to kind of bypass further into the clock tower. However, I haven't been able to get it to work correctly yet, so until I can, we're stuck doing this section of climbing. So even though you can see the platform over here from that one, you can't really jump to it efficiently, which is rather frustrating. Ah, come on. It's another example of a sequence break you shouldn't be able to do at this point. So we're going to try to sequence break this fight with the mechanical monstrosity. I don't know if we will or not. It just depends if he wants to give us a good pattern. Okay. So we drag him around. Hopefully he doesn't do certain things. Okay. So we got it. Ow. Please no Zapperino me. Please stop zapping me. Please stop it. And now he's playing some exquisite D over the bridge, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually do this. This is fantastic. I'm so glad I learned this skip just to have shit like this happen. Oh, this motherfucker. So, I just lost a fair amount of time from my previous run, but that's still faster than fighting the boss. Ugh, that's rough.
The giant mechanisms.
So, Olrox. There is a skip you can do for Olrox. I'm going to try it once. I'm going to give it a good old college try and see if it works. Wow. Fuck me. I got it. So, yeah. Alright, we're even again, I guess. Well, I mean, I guess I'm happy that I got it. Just unfortunate that we got it in this run. Oh, boy. So, what I just did there literally just saved me about 3.5 minutes. It is... Don't let how easily that worked fool you. That is probably the hardest skip in the game. And to get that first try is basically the best. And it was a fast first try, too. Like, I didn't have to mess around with it at all. Shoot, I always pause it there, but I can't actually skip this cutscene because it has a QTE in it. Once you understand the principles of the high jump, it's not particularly hard to do. The hard thing is being able to control your high jumps and understanding how you need to move during them to accomplish your goals. That's the hard part. This is actually not Drac, Dev. This is the Dark Lord of the Vampires. So this whole double jump that I've been doing, this is where I'm supposed to obtain it, is after this fight. So after this fight, a new game run would look pretty similar to this one. It might not use as many sequence breaks just because it would be limited on its holy water usage, but it looked pretty similar. Is there a tutorial for the high jump? There is not particularly. Akion has written about it inside of his glitch fac. I have considered doing like minor tutorials for this game, just to get people started.
Comes again with words of wisdom and advice for our hero.
I hope I went to the right place. I think I did. Hope I did. Okay. So there is a Chupacabra skip that can happen in here. I got it in my PB. I do not know if I'm going to get it again. It's kind of difficult to do. But we'll give it a try. We will definitely give it a try, because it can save a pretty large portion of time if you hit it. Another nice little bypass there. Okay. Actually. Oh, wow, we got it again. Sick. All right. So that may seem silly, but I just didn't want to trigger the cutscene with the Chupacabra, and I have no idea how much space I have to run there. So, kind of terrified.
Lot of monsters up here.
Yo, what's up, Zast? Oop. There we go. So we came out probably about even. Normally I do that just to bypass a little bit of crawling, but dropping down basically got rid of the time loss we would have, or the time gain we would have. Okay.
The stench of death is strong.
I mean, there's definitely things that are easier to learn in this game than others. As with any speed game, of course. But this one in particular, like, this skip looks really difficult, but once you understand the principles of it, this is actually one of the easier skips to do, and a lot less punishing. I'd say this game got a lot more approachable with the advent of the backwards high jump. Like, once we figured that out, like, So many skips became so much more possible with lower amounts of holy water. I just wish that we could find a way to do the music box skip consistently. So far, I've only been able to do the music box skip twice, and I was only able to do it on... wow, that was really dumb of me. I was only able to do it on PS3. That was just me losing focus. I know I have to wait on this cutscene. Can't skip it. Pay no attention to that flock of crows. Stop looking at them. They've done nothing to you.
The old hag has cast a
But yeah,
spell
there
on
is a
every
music box skip. But so far I have been unable to confirm it on PC. If it could, this would be an enormous skip. Because there's just so many things you have to do in this area.
Many nights.
I could technically skip over the red section here and do that jump with high jumping. If I did that, there's a chance that I could make this cycle of the spikes. But it'd be pretty damn hard.
They tasted so.
There's a couple of other skips I could potentially do for this section, but I haven't trained them at all. And I need to review them, if I did.
Baba knew you would come.
Dang. Disgusting.
Dangerous, the music box is.
Timing on that is a lot tighter than it really should be, but getting it the first try is what's important. Then it's this one and that. Trying to remember which ones I need to activate. Aha! That should not have happened.
You alive? Yes, you are. Good. Good.
Okay. Whew. Got the blue rose for Baba.
Baba Yaga sent our
Alright.
hero to the Titan's graveyard.
Yeah, you're able to skip the music box in the PlayStation version of the game, as I mentioned. I am unfamiliar of a way to skip it in the PC version, unfortunately. Oh, come on. Wow, okay, that's not good. So we just lost some time here. So if I could please this time, just, you know. There we go. So I was probably trying too hard there. I'll remember that next time. I thought I had to do a backwards long jump there in order to stick to the wall, but I guess I can just high jump into a area attack. That'll work as well. So we're gonna try to bypass this climbing sequence like once. Nice, got it. There's a pretty prolonged climbing sequence there. That makes it so that you don't have to do it. However, there's normally death collision there, so a lot of times you'll just hit the death collision and get warped to the top again. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, every skip that I'm doing right now is possible on PlayStation 3. Okay. That's the first section of the stage done. Now the second one, and the harder thing to do. So we break those rocks so that this becomes easier to do. If we don't do that, then when we do the landslide punch there that slams on the ground, oftentimes it'll try to trigger the, or try to target the rocks rather than give me control. Dang. Alright. Oh, that was close. This is another very, very hard skip. And it's not just getting this one, it's the jump after it that's pretty dangerous. Oh, come on, man. Busting my balls, Gabe. Get up there. Yeah, that's not gonna get high enough. Nice. A little bit more? Okay. Alright, alright, alright. Nice, got it. Okay. Wasn't great, but it worked. That is a very, very hard skip.
Let's see how powerful you are without your magic.
I'm pretty powerful without my magic since I have this dark crystal. And I think you forgot to take this from me. So right now Pan's taken away all my magic, and so because of that I have to use like parries and stuff to fight him. This is basically supposed to be the game teaching you to like fight with and without resources, and teach you the mechanics of the final fight of the game. What it actually does is just frustrate you to no end, and force you to learn this stuff way later than you should have. So yeah, not a very effective scene, if you ask me. Luckily, he never went light form there, so I was able to just abuse him with ultimate light. What? So I've never seen him do that, but okay. Good for him. I'm just gonna bash him with ultimate shadow. So this is the second hardest QTE in the game to hit. And the reason that's difficult is purely because it goes very fast,
So the old
and it's
cause
moving
dead.
as it comes, so it can be difficult to hit it sometimes. I haven't missed it in the speedrun. I missed that like probably 3 or 4 times casually playing this game. So Pinnacle is pretty free. There is a skip at the end that can give you trouble, but for the most part, this is pretty cut and dry. Hello, Ragnall. Yeah, it's going to be very, very similar if you speedrun God of War. Very similar concepts, you know, using extreme height to get over invisible walls, bypassing triggers, all that good stuff. You're kind of catching the back end of the run, but welcome. Okay. All right. So you can actually bypass that cutscene, but sometimes you don't. The main thing is you bypass the cutscene where the Chupacabra takes away your gear. If all you do is do that, then you've successfully dealt with that. I'm kind of interested because the Chupacabra... There we go. He gives his opinions on this speedrun.
Fueled by the very flames of hell itself.
Lot of monsters appear.
I think my favorite was when I got all the skips in that stage first try super quickly. He was like, smoking! Pretty cool stuff. There's a skip you can do for the Gravedigger boss here that is very, very powerful. It's the other major skip that I need to learn how to do. I've executed it once, and that once was after, like, maybe 100 tries. So I'm not even going to pretend like I'm going to be able to go for it here. But if I could get that, that would be another, like, 3-minute time gain. Swimming in the air, they're referring to God of War. In a couple of the God of War games, you can trick the game into thinking you have swimming physics when out of the water, and that allows you to fly through the air. And swimming is actually pretty fast, even as just a normal form of movement. So this is actually the hardest cutscene in the game, because this one is blazingly fast normally. I think when they made the change to PC and 60 FPS, this became a lot more manageable, but this thing used to be crazy fast previously. It also doesn't help that it looks like you failed it. Normally, if you do the skip for the boss, you either end up halfway up this climbing section, or you die to the lava down there, and if you die to the lava down there, you end up getting respawned on this platform that I'm on right now. But yeah, that would skip all of that cutscene, all of the fight, all that good stuff. So Gravedigger skip is also very, very powerful. Oh, come on. Wait, that was the crematory oven. So, Necromancer's
So it
Abyss.
begins. The necromancer.
I have a lot of time to gain in this, but I have to play well. This first one is a puzzle skip. Okay. That one went well. I have 5 holy waters, which is a little low for the rest of the level, but it's workable. Okay. 4, 3, 4, 4. 4, 3, 4, 4, 2, 1, 2, 4. 2, 1, 2, 4, 4, 3, 4, 4, 3, 4. Center. Okay. There is a way you can skip this puzzle as well. However, I think the skip actually takes a longer time than completing the puzzle. So, you know, unfortunately, we have to eat this for now. All right. Nice. That's a nice little trick with platforming there. Allows me to skip going through a couple of portals. Sometimes the small time gains are the best ones, you know? Just a little bit of creative thinking can go a long way in speeding up play. Now, the bad part about it is that when you do skip it like that, this thing is out of sequence. So I've been wondering if maybe I can just go a little faster. I can maybe catch that cycle. As it is, making that jump didn't save too much time, because I had to wait for that anyway. Okay. I thought I wasn't going to make that jump there for a sec. All right, let's hope for the best here. I'm gonna wait on this because I want him to summon his guys. If I had gone before he went for that summon, it's possible that we could have basically been locked in our inputs. Okay, so we're gonna take that death. That's okay. Okay. Nice, got it. So that's actually going to be a big time save for us, because we struggled a huge amount on this stage. Provided we can get the rest of this right. But from here on out, it's pretty simple. We just have to bypass that gate again and continue with the normal platforming. How fast can you beat the dragon in this level? Depends. We'll see how quickly I can hit it. You can beat this dragon, or the Draco Lich, in about a minute, if you get it perfectly. If you don't get it perfectly, you're going to be there a while. Okay. We are Venom. Uh-oh. Please don't crash or something crazy. Okay. The frame rate just tanked there for a moment, which is worrying to me. Yeah, Draco Lich is its name. The zombie dragon thing. The Dragon Titan. So the world record would be finishing up right about now, by the way, for those of you interested. Excuse me? There we go. Saves a little bit of time in climbing. Yeah, I believe the world record for this game is currently at 147 something. But I mean, considering we lost like 3 minutes on the Chromatic Observatory, you can see that like the run is not nearly that optimized yet to where somebody can't take the record with some very, very structured practice and hard work. And he also does a couple of skips that I don't currently implement, so like, you know, still a lot of time on the table. Those sick enemy health bars. I mean, this is looking pretty good. We still have to get past Draco Lich skip, because that can be a real problem. But we got a good shot. Hitting that Olrock skip was so key at giving this run a shot.
Look at him, so dark.
Alright, come on, Draco Lich. Okay, that one didn't work. Okay, that one didn't work. Nice, got it. So that is basically a phase skip. The intended way to fight Draco Lich is you're supposed to, like, climb all over him and stuff. Or you're supposed to jump onto him, climb all over him for, like, 10 to 12 minutes, breaking ruins all over his body. By making that jump across the gap, we were able to skip that phase entirely and basically jump to the last part of the fight. And even though he had, like, full health, the game still thinks that you've broken all the ruins because you're in that part of the fight. So there's still one more skip that we can do, potentially. But we'll have to see if we can actually hit it or not. I have yet to get it on PC, so I don't even know if it's possible, but we're gonna go for it.
Impossible! Is that the power of God?
Yeah, didn't get it. So if you do the Dark Crystal at just the right time, you're able to skip these cutscenes from occurring. But didn't quite get it. I have been unable to get it on PC. I think I tried it about 30 times and got it 0. On PS3, I got it, I think, 5 and 40 or so. Uh-oh, did I hit that? Okay, I got it. I thought I missed that just barely. Whew. Yeah, this fight's basically a total slam dunk. You just gotta make sure you don't miss the QTEs, and you gotta make sure you get through his colored shields.
No! Stay back from me.
Excuse me? Okay. Little hiccup there, but we got it. That's the final QTE, so that's time. Alright, guys. Enjoy the ending, alright?
Take your hands off me, murderer. Your soul is damned.
I ask forgiveness and mercy for those that I have wronged. What I did unknowingly. Yet I would change everything if I could.
He isn't listening, Gabriel. Your fate is fixed.
Every man has the power to repent. I have faith in that. Forgive me. Forgive me, my God.
I will have such fun with your Marie. I will introduce her to such pleasures.
Her soul will go only to him. Once I have finished with you, Angel.
I mean, I was making a joke of it, but I actually did. Like, that is literally Satan, who I just beat. Gabriel Belmont just divine fisticuffed his way into beating the shit out of the Lord of Darkness. He just punched Satan in the face until he didn't want none anymore.
An unusual hiding place for the Prince of Darkness. Don't you think?
Zobek.
Yes, old friend. It is I.
Where have you been all this time?
Out there, amongst the living. And what of you? Why have you been hiding all this time? Gabriel.
Don't you dare call me that. Isint Dracul.
No doubt, you once were. But alas, look at you now. A mere shadow of your former self.
Shadow, am I? What do you want, old friend?
Satan's acolytes are readying for his imminent return. He is unlikely to welcome both of us with open arms. Don't you think? Help me stop him. Or you and I will become his favorite pets. For all eternity. It is time to get out of this wretched tomb you have made for yourself. Stop skulking in the shadows. Don't you care that he will enslave you? I know what it is you yearn for.
I cannot die. Yet.
Lot of monsters up here.
Help me, and I can free you of your immortality. Soon, old friend. Soon. It will be over.
And that's the story of good old Gaby Belmont.